My name is Jason JROCK Houston, and this interview is being done for Chaotic Riffs magazine. And tonight we're speaking with Fang VonWrathenstein, the lead singer from the band Lords of Trident. How are you doing tonight, Fang?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great now. I talked to you about a year ago for the first time, and I was really impressed with what a great interview you gave. And so I got to start this interview off asking, how is it that a band like the Lords of Trident that have never been up for a Grammy or anything?
Well, you're going to make a barbarian blush with all of that, you know. Flattery will get you nowhere, you know.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because, I mean, the Grammys, to me, you know, they're all right for, they could do a much better job, you know, in the metal category. I mean, they never seem to really get it right. This year, they gave it to Jack Black's band Tenacious D, which they did a great cover of Ronnie James Dio's Last in Line. But when you consider, you know, this is basically a comedy spoof, you know, the actor Jack Black's band, like we were saying, and you have other metal contemporaries like Slipknot and Anthrax and Motorhead were up for Grammy, and you know, they kind of give it to a comedian. That's almost like that's almost as bad as when Jethro Tull beat out Metallica.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, the thing is that, like, you know, Dio never got a Grammy. Someone doing a cover of Dio.
Yeah.
Grammy. It's sort of weird, you know, in that regard.
Yeah. And now, you were telling me what last time we talked, what a huge influence Ronnie Dio was on you. So, and you told me that you had actually, I think, had an encounter where you'd met Ronnie. So, what do you think Ronnie would think about this?
You know, he was part and parcel with Tenacious D when they did their movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're friends. I don't feel like he'd take it all that personally. You know, Dio never was one to hold grudges or to, you know, be sort of spiteful, at least as far as I'm aware. So, you know, so I think he'd take good on them. And, you know, when all is said and done, I mean, what is a Grammy really, you know, on the throne of Ronnie James Dio? I mean, really, you know, he's one of the metal gods out there. You know, is adding a Grammy to that really going to, you know, elevate him any further? I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely, you know, he's made his mark on the metal world. You know, no doubt about that. And, you know, I got to also tip my hat to Jack Black because being that, you know, he's mostly known for being a comedian. If anybody got that Dio tribute album, you know, that's a pretty one of the better tracks on there. You know, the Tenacious D's version of the Last in Line. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say on that. Now, I'm reading on your Facebook page that you guys are looking for a new guitar player. So, what happened to the previous guitar player? What's he off doing now?
Yes, well, unfortunately, Kilius Maximus decided that, you know, he'd been playing for so long, playing the guitar for so very long. He'd almost sort of gotten a little bored with it. And he said, well, okay, I know I can play all the chords known, you know, to humankind in existence. What about the chords that no one else can play? And so he started doing research about, you know, yogic breathing and meditation, stretching, all that sort of stuff. And he started playing a lot of, like, Street Fighter 2, you know, with the Dalshin character, the guy that can stretch out his arms and legs. And so he said to himself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head over to India. And this was quite a shock to us when he said this. You know, he said, I'm going to head to India, and I'm going to learn the secret forbidden techniques for stretching out your fingers to, you know, inhuman lengths so that I can play, you know, the scales, the forbidden scales that no other human can play. And so we said to him, oh, that sounds cool. You know, how long are you going to be gone? Like a couple weeks, you know, maybe a month. And he's like, yeah, it might be on the area of years. And I'm like, oh, man, we just released a CD. You know, it's going to be difficult having you gone for years. And he says, well, you know, until I get back, you know, and he says it might be 7, 8, 9 years until I get back, you know, go ahead and audition. See if you can try to find another immortal that can fill my sandals, if you will.
And so
that's what we're looking at right now. We're trying to find someone to fill in for Kilius. And you never know what will happen with that guy. I mean, he might end up becoming one of those mystics at the top of the mountains in India that are like levitating as they meditate. So
now,
we wish him all the best of luck.
Any chance he'll be forming any kind of solo act and going over to India and playing the music of Lords of Trident over there?
Well, I've never heard a sitar cover of Lords of the Trident, but I'd love to hear it. So, as long as he's over there, he should be cracking on that for sure.
Oh, that's cool. And now, as far as replacement, what kind of guitar player are you looking for? I mean, you want somebody that's going to play the songs note for note the way he did, or you want somebody that's kind of going to bring their own influence into the band?
Yeah, that's never been. We've replaced. So Kilias was our second guitar player after the Socrates of Shred, and we've never really looked for someone who can play things absolutely note for note. I think one of the interesting things, when you bring someone fresh and new into a band, is finding sort of their own style, their own flavor that they add to the band. So really, we're just kind of looking for someone who, can play Kilias' parts without setting themselves on fire or dying. That's been really difficult. We've gone through at least 40 interviews so far where people, they mean well, of course, but they get a couple riffs in and they just die, heart attack instant. But so we're looking for someone who can play the riffs without dying, and who else can bring their own sort of flavor to the band.
And so, what's the auditioning process? Like, you guys just going through tapes, or you gonna actually have a catalog of guys coming down and audition?
Well, we actually have a bunch of people in person. I don't feel you can really do it justice over tapes because you need to have someone playing in person in front of you, make sure they're okay, and then also we have quite an extensive interview process after it's all done. I will tell you one of the secret interview questions that we do. So if someone is listening to this, then they've obviously done their homework.
Okay.
One of the secret interview questions that we say after they're all done playing, we say, "Hey man, would you like a beer?" And if they say yes, we lead them over to our beer fridge, which of course at all times is just massively stocked. We've got stouts and wheats and porters and Belgians and all sorts of incredible beers from all around the world. And then down in the corner, in the very lower right-hand corner, we have one can of Bud Light. And if they choose that one can, they are instantly destroyed. They're instantly kicked out. They say, "Sorry, you might have played perfectly, but no, we can't have you. No, thank you."
Wow. And so, I was looking on your Facebook page, and I see, of course, you guys have a new album you just released called Frostburn. But before we talk about that, I also see the same day that was released, your first album ever that you released called Death or Sandwich has been re-released. Why now is the time for that to be re-released? And are we getting anything new? I was reading that there's new artwork, but are we get any bonus tracks or anything on there?
Yes, it was interesting because there was a record company from Ohio that approached us about this, and they said, "Hey, and we've been working with them for ages," and they say, we know that your first album, Death or Sandwich, has been out of print for a couple years, and it has. We haven't reprinted it or made any more copies or anything like that. They said to us, "We want to reprint your first album," and I looked at them and I'm like, "Really?
Mm-hmm.
That first album? You really want to do that?" And they said, "Yes, absolutely. People are asking for it." And I said, "Really? People are asking for the first album? Okay, I guess if they want it." So basically, they came to us and they said, "We want to redo your first album. We want to redo the artwork. We want to cover all the costs of printing it. And for every copy we make, you'll get a copy too." And so, essentially it was sort of a no-brainer. We said, "Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fine. That works just fine." So they redid the artwork. They did a fantastic job with the brand new artwork. And now we have, a very limited amount of copies of Death or Sandwich available, which is, sort of a win-win for both of us. They get to sell their copies. We get to sell our copies. It's all good.
Yeah, and then you got the new album Frostburn, so hopefully, people that are just finding out about the band, they'll go back and get that debut album and maybe purchase both CDs, and they can have the band's whole catalog, so to speak, and see what you guys are really all about.
They can listen to Frostburn and they'll be like, "Wow, that's the best CD I've ever heard." And then they can listen to Death or Sandwich and they'll be like, "Wow, that was not as good. Oh, all right."
Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about the new album Frostburn. What can you tell us about it? I mean, how many songs are we getting on it? And Has there been a single released yet?
Yeah, absolutely. We released a music video for our first single, "Winds of the Storm," and that has been critically acclaimed and all that sort of stuff. People really seem to be digging it. There are 10 songs on the album. It is a full-length album, and boy, I got to tell you, I am, of all the albums we've ever made, and I'm sure all the artists, every artist out there says this, but of all the albums I've ever made, this one I think is absolutely hands down 100% the best album we've ever made. I mean, before it came out, even it was banned in 36 countries by the UN because they feared riots and all that sort of stuff. And so it was really due to our underground smugglers where they can get the albums to these countries where it's been outlawed. So I have to hand it to them. But honestly, I am really proud of this album.
And then,
I think it is just fantastic. And it's actually the first album that we've ever been released through like a label, essentially. We recently signed with Killer Metal Records out of Germany. And so now it is in a bunch of record stores all throughout Europe. And we've been getting orders left and right from Europe and from the United States. It's actually been kind of hard to keep up on the volume, so that's but who am I to complain about that, obviously.
And speaking about that, I got to ask you if you sent Obama his copy, because I hear that he's been in talks with Tipper Gore about relaunching the PMRC. Any chance that he might try to ban this CD from getting in some of the stores?
I sent Obama a copy. I chatted with him recently, just over the phone. Obviously, I have most of the rulers of the countries on speed dial, because they're really more of a puppet government for Lords of the Trident, obviously. But he's sort of afraid to listen to it. I mean, the CIA essentially won't let him listen to it, and it's mostly because we told him all about the initial tests we were doing with Frostburn. We played, so for those of you not in the know, we played about 30 seconds of the first track, Frostburn, for like in a room of like small animals. And let me just say that cleanup was not pretty. I mean, it was basically just red mist everywhere. So I think the CIA is a little wary of letting any of the world Obama or any of the world leaders actually get their hands on a full copy of Frostburn. Because, I mean, I don't know if anybody really wants Joe Biden to be the president at this point, so, we'll just say that. And
I was curious, talking about, Tipper Gore and her ex-husband, Mr. Al Gore, of course, we're speaking of now, former Vice President of the United States. I was curious, have you guys ever been in talks? Any chance that you might provide the soundtrack, as far as Frostburn, your album, for his next documentary on global warming?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're very open to any sort of licensing, but, it comes with a cost. You not only monetarily, but there's the sort of ratings board you have to get through. I've heard that the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, will essentially try to ban any movie that uses any part of Frostburn. They're just worried about casualties, really. So it's one of those things that it's difficult. We'd love to lend it to any sort of movie or commercial or anything, but I think a lot of the companies, a lot of the filmmakers out there are just plain scared of the backlash of people listening to a few seconds of it and their face is melting off. That being said, the Plastic Surgeons Association of America has given us a AAA rating because of all the business that we brought in from all the melted faces.
Wow, and now I was going to ask you, because I seen that you guys had a CD release party a few weeks back, and there was this opening band, I guess it was Play the Show, Eddie 8 Dynamite, and they're talking some trash about you guys. I was curious, why would you guys let a band like that play your show?
Oh, well, it's one of those things where they were a very recent band made up of people that, we knew personally. And, I'm just going to say that, they haven't really been heard from since the CD release. There may be a reason for that. But, my lawyers have suggested that I don't say anything beyond that. That being said, they did put on one heck of a performance. They definitely kept the crowd warmed up. And if they're ever
You know, when people think of Lords of Trident, you know, they think of you guys as full blown on metal. But I think what people will be surprised to find out is that, you know, Lords of Trident too, they're all about sending out nothing but love to their fans. And oddly enough, you know, I was looking on your Facebook page, and I see you guys had printed up some Valentine's cards. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about who created these cards and how you got the idea for that.
Absolutely. Well, I made the cards, and we've been doing that every year since, probably since 2010. We have all of our backlog of Valentine's Day cards on our main website, www.lordsoftheTrident.com. And, you know, the initial idea it came from this, one of our original shows when we played on Friday the 13th. You know, we had some complaints from fans who said, hey, you know, I had this big date set up with my girlfriend for Valentine's Day. I went, you know, obviously like a true minion, I went out and saw you guys on Friday the 13th. I wouldn't miss it. And I came back, and I had my face melted off. I came to the door with the roses. She screamed. She closed the door. You know, my date was ruined. So how do I salvage this? You know, we've gotten all these emails from fans about this. And so, you know, I thought long and hard. I said, well, what's the best thing to do? Obviously, create some very romantic, very sexy Lords of the Trident Valentine's Day cards to sort of salve the wound of, you know, having your face melted off. So, yes, they may scream at your melted off face. That's true. But then you hand them this very, you know, seductive Lords of the Trident Valentine's Day card, then suddenly all is forgiven. You know, you see the plastic surgeon the next week, everything's back to normal, and the romance is saved. So we're really all about, you know, making sure that our minions are well cared for and make sure that, you know, everything goes well for them. So absolutely, we're all about the fans and their romance.
And then, you know, obviously, like we were saying, Lords of Trident, you guys have always given love to the fans, but what about the love you get from your fans? I mean, you ever have fans sending you stuff, or even having a crazy fan jump up on stage and, you know, just going totally crazy? What's that like for you?
Yes, all the time. In terms of fans jumping up on stage, actually today there was a viral video that went around of a performer just straight up like cold cocking this female that had gotten up on the stage and tried to like grind up against him. And, you know, that is not something that the Lords of the Trident subscribe to or do. If anyone ends up getting up on the stage, drunk out of their minds, trying to sing in the microphone, you better believe that I make them regret it. In a violent way, in just an embarrassment way. You know, we had there was a show a couple weeks ago where some drunk girl got up on the stage and, you know, tried to like sing along or dance. Boy, every time she had her back turned, it was just like this weird sort of Miley Cyrus twerking sort of motion that we did in front of her. The whole crowd was just eating it up. And, she figured it out eventually, and she sort of left the stage in shame. So, for all of you, you know, would-be drunk girls up there trying to get up on the stage, you know, I will make you regret it, absolutely, 100%. But in terms of good things, you know, that fans have done, my mind is brought to this one story of one of our super fans. His name's Ian, and he's just a fantastic guy. He brought one of his friends to a show once. We were hanging out after the show, having a few drinks at the bar, and I'd never really met this guy before, before the show. And he says to me, he says, "Hey, Fang, are you parked out back?" And normally, you know, you don't answer that. But I had a few beers, and I said, yeah, I'm out back. He's like, "Hey, would you mind coming out to my trunk? I got something to show you." Again, that, you know, red flags, obviously. That's something that you don't normally say yes to.
Yeah.
But I said, you know, I had a few beers, and I said, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I follow him out to his trunk. He pops his trunk, and what does he have in his trunk but handcrafted weaponry that he had made himself to sort of like, in a sort of a fashion for every member of the band. You know, he gave me a sort of a mace, and there was a handcrafted dagger. I mean, it was just, you know, just absolutely fantastic stuff. And I said, "Holy cow, you know, what do you want for all this?" And he said, "Oh, I want a DVD."
Wow.
Like, oh, dude, we got tons of DVDs. Oh, yeah, I'll give you one of those. So, you know, the fans, when you're having the worst of days, the fans will end up just randomly out of the blue sending you something, posting something on your Facebook wall that'll just warm the cockles of your barbarian heart. And for us, it's really all about that relationship with the fans.
And so when you get stuff like that, did you use any of those props in any of your live shows since you've received it from them?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think actually almost all of our professional photos feature at least one of those handcrafted weapons. There is a little bit of a danger involved with some of those weapons because they're so sharp. I mean, he did such a fantastic job on those weaponry, on those weapons. That sometimes even bringing them into places, stage hands will get cut. Because we had one of our official merch dudes tried to pick one up, and he didn't see there's these hidden side blades on it, and it cut him in the hand all the way down to the bone, and he had to have stitches. So we sort of reserve those for the very special events, for the photos, that sort of thing. But yes, we do use those in live events, albeit not every single live event.
Yeah, and of course, Lord of Trident. You guys aren't a typical band like we're talking. Like last time, you kind of people that aren't aware of who you guys are. You kind of like I compare you almost to Manowar. You guys get dressed up in these great medieval like costumes and stuff and swords like we're talking about. And so I was curious, like when you're up there on stage, do you ever have any fear of, like we're saying, when people do jump up on stage or a crazy fan come up there and try and do something? I mean, the thing that comes immediately to mind is something like if you look at what happened to Dimebag Darrell from Pantera getting literally murdered on stage. Do you guys ever worry about security or anything when you guys are playing a show?
No, absolutely not. I mean, A, we're already wearing our armor. I mean, what could they really do to us?
Yeah.
B, I've never really met anyone who could really stand up, to the power of Fang VonWrathenstein here. If they're going to come at me with a knife or a gun or what, good luck, because essentially the stage is littered with weapons. They would have to be lightning fast in order to do anything to us. I've never really been that concerned about it. That's why we really don't have too much security at our concerts either. Because, I mean, for the most part, to be honest, we are the security. Just our imposing auras up on the stage keep people. They give people a chance to double check their thoughts before they say, "Oh, I'm going to jump up to the stage, take the band hostage." No, that's never going to happen.
That's great to hear. Now, you tell me that your label you signed with is based out of Germany. So, any chance you guys will be doing any touring in Europe to support the new CD?
That is the hope. We've been looking actually at either Germany or like a broader European tour, or we've been also thinking about Japan. As you know, Asian metal is from Japan originally. It speaks Japanese, and actually so do I. He taught me his native tongue over many nights of beer drinking and all that sort of stuff. So it's one of those things that we're sort of torn between going to Germany and Europe first or going to Japan first, but it is definitely going to happen. Of course, the first thing we need to do is find a suitable replacement for Kilius before we head off, either to the land of the rising sun or the land of the, setting sun. What would you call Europe?
Yeah. And so, as far as your CD release party, how did that show come off? I mean, did you get a pretty good response from the crowd?
Oh, fantastic! We had nearly all of our venues in the area made it. We had a show. It was a 250, 300 person crowd show. The whole crowd was singing along. It was boisterous. Everyone was drunk. It was just fantastic. It was one of the best shows I think we'd ever played. It was one of those things that unfortunately, of course, go figure, 2 days before, I came down with a bit of the dragon pox and I had this terrible sinus infection. So some of the songs, in terms of the notes I was singing, I had to adjust and stuff like that. So personally, as a singer, was I happy with it? No. But in terms of the actual crowd response, the amount of people that were there, the way we played, the way we performed, couldn't have been any better. And, we almost everyone who was there bought a copy of Frostburn, and I've heard that about 20% of them have survived the first listen. So thankfully we still have the strongest barbarians still in our ranks.
And so I guess all in the name of metal. Now you're mentioning that you were sick with the chickenpox or something. Now, if you don't mind getting a little political now, Fang, where do you and your bandmates stand on vaccinations? And getting flu shots and all that.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% think everyone should be vaccinated, and here is why. We have firsthand experience with this sort of a thing, because back in our last European tour, which was in 1342, we had this terrible PR manager who decided that, like, hey, we're gonna give away a free rat with every ticket purchase. We're gonna say, and at the time, of course, we thought that was a good idea because we didn't know about the Black Plague and all that sort of stuff. So, long story short, there was a whole PR backlash. People said, oh, wherever the Lord of the Trident go, death follows, and it wasn't in a good way. It was more of in a Black Plaguey sort of way. So we stayed underground for about 750 years after that, just to kind of let the PR blow over. But, absolutely the scientific advances since then have been fantastic. I think if you don't get yourself vaccinated, you're really dumb. And, you're depriving yourself and you're depriving your children of potentially the thrill of battle of being in a Lords of the Trident show, because if they get like measles or smallpox or things like that, they're just going to die, and they're not going to be able to see a Lords of the Trident concert live. I'm 100% behind the science of vaccination.
Well, that's great. Now you're talking about an example of some pretty bad PR that the band went through, back in the day. But it seems like you guys have been getting nothing but positive PR on your new album, Frostburn. So that's quite a positive change. Why do you think people are all of a sudden having so many great things to say about the band?
Well, I think obviously because this is the best album we've ever released ever. And I agree 100% with all of the good PR. And B, people have sort of, and history books too, which is lucky for us, have sort of forgotten the whole, Lords of the Trident may or may not have caused the Black Plague. Obviously our lawyers don't want us to say one way or the other. Incidents, So thankfully, that sort of, terrible history is behind us. And now people are looking at us not for, did they or did they not kill, 1/3 of the world population due to illness, but they're looking at our accolades. They're looking at our record. They're saying, how good is Frostburn? And everyone who's listened to it has taken their entire CD collection and burned it in a pit in their backyard, just keeping Frostburn for themselves. So I mean, that alone sort of speaks for itself. And I would recommend everyone out there who picks up a copy of Frostburn, listen to it, and if you survive, I feel like you'll do the same thing. You'll just take your entire music collection, delete it off your hard drive, take your entire CD collection, just burn it in a pit, because really all you'll need will be Frostburn at that point.
And let me ask you, Fang, is this album like a concept album in the sense that is it kind of telling the story of the history of like the Ice Age and stuff that has come before and future Ice Age?
We've actually been talking about this. So Frostburn in itself is not exactly a concept album. We do have some songs that are sort of loosely tied together, but we have actually been talking about that quite seriously. Now that we've got a couple albums under our belts, now that we have a decent fan base, do we want to do something like Queensryche did, where we have a full-on concept album, almost a rock opera sort of thing? One of the bands that we played with a couple of years ago, one of my very favorite bands, called the Proto-Men, and both of their albums are full-on concept albums with like staging and the liner notes and all sorts of things. Honestly, I think it would be really fun to do. But of course, it's finding the right concept and being able to deliver. You don't want to put together a crappy concept album, because then you'll just be remembered as a band who couldn't come up with a good concept, essentially.
And let me ask you.
I'd love to do one.
Let me ask you. You kind of a visionary of the band. Like, if you were to do a concept album, would it kind of be based on your concept? Would you guys all come up with the concept together?
I'm open to any good ideas. That being said, I am sort of like the iron-fisted dictator of the band for the most part. But at this point, I have some loose ideas, I'll say, about, possible concept albums. But actually, Dr. Vitus is sort of the driving force behind the concept album idea. He was very adamant about doing it, so I'd be interested to see what his ideas for the actual concept of the album would be, and sort of take it from there. I'm very open to hearing what he has to say.
And I was curious, being self-described, iron-fisted dictator there. Have you ever met the modern-day dictator known as Axl Rose? Had any dealings with him?
I wish. No, I've never met the actual Axl Rose. I've only seen terrible footage of him trying to play with cornrows and not succeeding very well. So perhaps someday our paths will cross, and I can give him potentially some singing lessons, or we can have a knife fight, one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I could just imagine. I mean, could you imagine a Guns N' Roses or even Axl Rose and Lords of Trident on the same stage, touring together? What a double bill that would be.
That would be insane. I'm not sure even exactly what that would be like. I will say we very recently played with a Guns N' Roses cover band, and it was potentially the most accurate Guns N' Roses cover band that I'd ever seen, only because everybody in the entire band hated Axl. He got really drunk and just made an ass out of himself.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give the guy props. He's got talent as far as being a great singer and songwriter, but it's just that he had the ultimate band, and he kind of just really he destroyed it. Guys he's playing with now are I'd say they've got talent as well, but it's not the same band. It's kind of Axl Rose's and his backing band.
I agree with you 100%. Yes, absolutely.
And it's just now if you were ever to do like even your Guns N' Roses tribute or anything like that, could you ever see yourself or Lords of Trident becoming a band where you bring in saxophones and keyboard players and backup singers?
Well, I guess we'll have to see where the concept album goes. We've already brought in live accordion players for the Metal C, but I've never really thought about saxophone. I don't really think saxophone and backup singers all that metal of a thing. If I had to do anything, I would probably bring in like a full. I would probably threaten the grandmothers of the London Symphony Orchestra so that they would play like behind us in sort of a Metallica S&M sort of thing. That's a very sort of power metal thing to do, to have a big orchestra and a big chorus behind you. And the last song on the album, Shattered Skies, actually has a full orchestrated part behind it. So if I had to choose to do anything, probably be less saxophones and more full-on orchestra.
Yeah, I mean, even look at a band like Deep Purple. I mean, they've been doing it 50 years, and I mean, they did a thing with London Symphony Orchestra, back in the 70s, and John Lord, may he rest in peace. Yeah, he was a keyboard player. Man, he was full blown on metal. I mean, that was one of the hardest rock and keyboard players there ever was.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going forward for the rest of 2015. What's your guys' plans to support this new album?
Well, the first and foremost thing that's on our mind right now, obviously, is finding a replacement for Kilius. We've got a few auditions still yet to go. I'm optimistic. I'm sure we'll find someone. I don't doubt that we'll be left guitarless for long. While that is in the process, we are also there's also two things on the docket. A, we've got a couple of music videos that we want to finish out and get out there. So we're in the middle of doing that. And B, one of our Kickstarter backer prizes was for the $200 level, you could make Lords of the Trident cover any song that you wish. And we're either happy about that or woefully regretting it, because we're actually going to be coming out with a covers album very soon. It will be free for download on the internet. And let's just say the covers will be, interesting. We'll just put it that way.
Well, I kind of think that's a cool idea. I mean, I heard about a lot of these Kickstarter campaigns. I mean, Quiet Riot's one that comes to mind for their movie that they're going to be releasing on DVD this May, that just aired on Showtime. But I think that's a cool thing that have people help you guys raise money to do this album, and then they kind of get to pick the tracks they want. And so how did you go about picking the tracks? Is it just about okay, well, these are the people that donated the most money, or what was the process like for that?
Oh, no, it was completely organic. It was basically anyone who pledged that dollar amount could make us play any song of their choosing.
Wow.
And we had no veto power on whatsoever. So, like, for instance, we're going to be doing a metal cover of Beyonce's Diva.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, so, you know, that's one of the best things, the best and the worst things about crowdfunding. You know, you get to connect directly with your fans. You get to have the fans fund directly the things that they are excited about. And you also, you know, you get to sort of like release the reins and give the fans control to see what they want us to do. And sometimes the suggestions are great. Sometimes the suggestions, maybe from our perspective, are not so great. But you know what? We're going to have a ton of fun with it. I'm planning on actually, I'm hoping to recreate the Beyonce's Diva music video, sort of shot for shot. But instead of the sexy backup dancers, I'm hoping to grab some guys with like leather jackets with patches all over them and do the sexy backup dance while I dance in front.
Wow, wow.
Let's see where that takes us.
That's a cool idea, and you know, and the great thing about that is like even metal fan like Beyonce, ooh, but you know, I could see Lords of Trident like really doing a great metal version, if you will, and the neat thing about that is you know, it'd be interesting to see if you guys you know, by doing that, turn anybody, you know, any of your diehard metal fans onto, oh, I think we'll go check out Beyonce. We'll go check out the original song, because I bet it'll be totally different things.
I'd be more happy if we got some strange Beyonce fans to suddenly be Lords of the Trident fans. I think that would be more happy for me. But you know, it's something that's a little outside the box, and it's something that, you know, we're okay with that. I think we're going to find some fun things in the process of doing that, of recording that, of doing the music video. One of the things I failed to mention too on this covers album, since of course Kilius is away in India right now, we have got lined up some fantastic solo artists, solo players to fill in for Kilius in terms of the guitar solos. Right now we've got 4, maybe 5 tracks for the plan for the album. It's going to be more of an EP. We've got Maxwell Carlisle, you know, who we all know and love, slated for one. We've got a local artist slated for the Beyonce Diva cover. We've got the guitarist from Bethlehem out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, slated for one of our other covers. It's gonna be really fun. We're gonna pull in a bunch of you know, quote unquote hired guns and have them give it a shot, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And as far as any of these hired gun guitar players, will this kind of be like an audition? Maybe they might be considered to join the band full time if you're happy with the way their performance comes out.
You know, the only one that I would say might be is our local artist here. Her name's Sarah Longfield. She's actually quite well known in the sort of like gents or core community in terms of being a fantastic player. She's got quite a few followers on YouTube and Twitter. The only thing is I think she's more into that style than she is into ours. I doubt she'd even really be interested in joining forces. But you know, we'll see where it takes us. Unfortunately, the other two are quite far away in terms of geographical location. So, you know, but you never know what can happen. Maybe they'll uproot and come to Madison. You never know.
And now let me ask you, Fang, once you find the new member, will you let them come up with their own, you know, name for the band, like, or will you kind of, you know, do like a Marilyn Manson and tell the guy, you know, I think this is going to be your stage name, you know, while you're in this band, or do you allow the members to come up with their own stage names?
We never force, you know, identities on anyone. You know, really, we need to find those immortal players on our own. So I think, you know, we probably wouldn't accept any mortal guitar players because they would probably die within the first month. And, you know, getting all that ready, getting all that prepped, and then just having them die on you is just difficult. So I think only immortals need to apply at this point. And gosh, you know, if they're immortal guitar players, they probably already have a very strong personality. We probably don't even have to come up with anything for them.
And as far as the covers EP, do you have a tentative date on when that might be released, or is that something that's kind of in the works as we speak?
You know, we've just started it, like just this week. So I can't tell you exactly when that's going to be done.
And so is this going to be like a digital release only, or we have physical copies as well of this?
You know, I haven't decided yet, to be perfectly honest. I think it will probably be. I think it'll probably be digital only. But you know, if the spark is there for people wanting their own physical copies, yeah, you know, why not? I think we might make a few.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years, you know, between albums. So, from the time you started writing for Frostburn, I was curious, how long did it take you guys to kind of record the whole album?
The whole album took us, probably 7 to 8 painstaking months of 24-hour non-stop recording, mixing, mastering, and quantizing. Most of the songs, it was interesting, that you say, most of the songs we usually already have almost fully written by the time we get in the studio. It is a rarity when we, have these situations where we don't have things prepped and ready to go. Although, it does happen time to time. But even for the next album, if it's a full length for the next EP, Asian Metal's probably got 4 to 5 songs, I think he's already done, that he's got in his head that we just have to do lyrics and things for. The man's a machine, really. I mean, he's insane. He'll write songs that are just instant hits constantly. Most of Frostburn was Asian Metal songs. So, it's really more of a recording, getting the mix right, getting the quantization down, rather than spending your time actually sitting and writing out things.
And do any of the other members, they ever kind of want to get involved with the songwriting, or are they content with just sitting back?
Absolutely. Kilius Maximus, of course, Asian Metal wrote about 60 to 65% of the songs on the album, and Kilius Maximus wrote the rest. So the way that it works is, Asian Metal or Kilius Maximus will usually come up with this idea, and they'll bring it to each other first, and they'll sort of hem and haw and say, oh yes, this is good, no, this is bad, back and forth. Once they have something concrete, they'll bring it to me, and then I am sort of the band's suck filter, meaning I can say, yes, it sucks, or no, it doesn't suck. So I give the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Once I have given the thumbs up, then we turn it into a full song, and then at that point, we bring in, of course, the bass and the drums, and we're very open to suggestion from them, but for the most part, usually the song's already been written, and if I say it's good, it's usually okay. And so we don't really have too much commotion over adding things, subtracting things. But there have been times when we thought something was finished and we just decided to add something new, subtract something here and there. So yes, we're very open to it, absolutely.
Yeah, the last thing I got to ask you before I let you go, Fang, is can you confirm or deny the rumors that before Lords of Trident was just getting together, that Asian Metal had actually been offered the gig as the guitar player in the legendary Japanese metal band Loudness, but he turned them down to join your band?
Well, I will say that we do have a very special relationship with Loudness. Also with the Japanese band Anthem, believe it or not. However, I really can't confirm or deny that without Asian Metal's approval, but I will say that you're close. You're very close. So that's all I can really say.
And can you the reason I brought that up too, can you confirm or deny this rumor that you guys have been in talks with the band Loudness to have like a Lords of Trident Loudness world tour?
It was funny because what was it? 3, 4, 5 months ago, we were actually slated to open for Loudness on a few of their tour dates in the United States, believe it or not. And then something went down with the health of one of the members of Loudness. They had to cancel all of their United States dates. We were just very, very sad to hear that, because we were very much looking forward to opening for them.
Well, looks like you guys are picking up the pieces, though. You got a great new album out, and people are checking it out and loving it, and got some music videos you said you're working on, and a great covers EP. So it looks like you're picking up the pieces. Now, as far as the tour for Frostburn, is that going to depend on how well this album sells, or is it just a matter of getting a tour lined up?
I think the tours will depend solely upon, you know, how well it sells. In terms of the United States tour, that's obviously a no-brainer. We've talked about this quite a bit, and we're deciding instead of doing like a major, you know, 2, 3, 4 week tour where we, you know, we're on tour constantly. We're actually thinking about trying a little different approach, because we looked at our statistics, we looked at our Excel spreadsheets and all that sort of stuff. We said to ourselves, okay, what sucks about touring? What is the worst part about touring? And everyone, hands down, said Sunday through Wednesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday just plain sucks. You know, we lose all of our money Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we make it all back Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so we said to ourselves, well, instead of doing this big, giant major tour, why don't we do this? Why don't we pick, you know, every weekend, we'll do this like twice a month, we'll pick a direction. So we'll say northwest or southeast or, you know, something like that. And then we'll head out on a Thursday, and we will drive as far as we possibly can on that Thursday, play a show. Then we'll drive as far as we can from there and play a show on that Friday. Then we'll drive as far as we can from there and play on that Saturday. And then on Sunday we'll drive all the way back. And then we'll take half a week or whatnot to recuperate, and then repeat. So instead of doing a major tour where we're doing night after night after night after night after night of shows, we said to ourselves, why don't we try a bunch of little mini tours? So this whole year, instead of one tour during the summer, this whole year we'll be on tour. We'll be constantly on tour, constantly invading new lands, and, you know, maybe we'll hit places that we've never really thought of hitting before.
Yeah,
that's kind of the thought right now.
That's a cool idea. I mean, also, you know, it allows people to kind of, you know, they won't be getting a bunch of, you know, Trident shows all in one area. You keep the fans wanting for more, you know.
Right, exactly.
And, you know, that's what a lot of these major bands are doing. Like even a lot of big '80s bands like Warren and LA Guns that are still out there doing it. A lot of them are doing these weekend gigs, like you're saying, and they're bringing in the money, you know, that way. So hopefully, you know, you guys will see that too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and so before we go, I got to ask you, how much of a new album are you guys putting in into your new live show?
Oh, well, you know, we always that's the problem with having, you know, 5 albums under your belt. It's like, I mean, you know, even when we had less, it's like, how many of the hits do we play of the songs that people know and love, and how many of the songs are going to be the new stuff? And honestly, I think at this point we're probably like, I don't know, 60-40, 70-30 in terms of brand new stuff versus old stuff. Of course, there are my favorite tracks on the album that I try to make them play. For instance, you know, we've always had the question from interviewers like, oh, Fang, what would you say your favorite Lords of the Trident song ever is? And, you know, to be honest, I never really had an answer for that, because I liked all of them. I didn't really have one that really stuck out as my favorite. But as soon as this album came out, I have to say, hands down, 100%, you know, unequivocally, Manly Witness off of the new album is 100% my favorite song that we've ever written, ever. And so I try to play that every single night. I really love that song. So we're going to try and, you know, a bunch of the new stuff, but of course we'll be bringing some of the old favorites to the show as well. So people needn't worry that all they're going to hear is new stuff, and that they're not, you know, not going to hear any of the old favorites.
Yeah, how cool is it though? Do you think when like you're talking to somebody that's just discovering the band off this new album Frostburn, and then they come to your show and they hear like an older song from one of your previous albums, and you find out, hey, I love this new album Frostburn. I didn't realize you guys had 4 other albums out, so I'm gonna go get those albums. I'm gonna check out what I can check out, because I really dig this band. But I didn't know you guys been around. I'm gonna check out your older stuff. That must be a cool feeling to turn somebody on to, you know, your older material through your new music.
Absolutely, it's great. And you know what we've seen people online buying Frostburn, listening to it, enjoying it, loving it, and then, you know, the next day we'll get an email in our inbox, which is like an automatic order email, and we'll see that they've ordered all the rest of our stuff. And that's, you know, that's the sort of thing. Like I said, you know, sometimes you'll be having a bad day and a fan will surprise you, you know, or a comment will come in that'll lift your spirits, and that's one of the things that really, you know, really raise our spirits. When we see
And you know, Lords of Trident, you guys are obviously a band that you do what you do for, you know, because you enjoy what you do. It's not necessarily about the money, although you like any other band out there, you want to be able to make a living. But like you guys put on a great visual show. Just looking at the photos on the Facebook page, like we were talking about before, I think the next logical step. You guys ever given any thought to like putting together like a Lords of Trident, you know, a movie or DVD like about the history of the band or anything like that?
Ooh, you know, that is a very good idea. I haven't thought about that, but to be perfectly honest, now that you say it, it really strikes me as a grand idea. So I think I may go for that.
I mean,
and I will absolutely have to credit you, you know, in the credits for crafting the original idea. That's a great idea.
Because again, I mean, a band like this, it's more than just some music. Because if anybody even look at the photos or been to your live shows, you guys put on a real visual, even with all the, you know, props and everything. When you're talking about the swords, I think it'd be great to put some kind of video together where you tell fans, okay, this is how we got into, you know, these swords and these props, and this is what the history of the band is, and just go into detail. It kind of almost like something like what Kiss would do or something. I mean, Kiss is one of those bands too that they put on a great visual show, but a band like Kiss too, they're so much more than just about music. You know what I mean? I mean, they've taken what they do to the next level and then some. Yeah. And so I got to ask you, bringing up Kiss, in all the years you guys have been touring, have you ever crossed their path?
No. I mean, you know, we've never got a chance to share the stage with them. I'd love to, just based on the amount of fire that they bring into their show. Yeah, that's sort of my thing. I really like lighting things on fire. And
well, you know, hey, I just thought about this. I just thought about this, setting things on fire, frostburn. Could you imagine fire and ice? What a show that would be.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect.
Yeah, and so as far as this album, Frostburn, once you went in the studio, did you pretty much have just those 10 tracks, or was there anything extra recorded that didn't make it onto the album?
No, you know, this is much to the chagrin of our PR person. You know, he's always like, "Oh, I want the bonus tracks for the Japan-only release."
Yeah.
And it's like, man, there are no bonus tracks. You know, when we go into the studio, we've already sort of called the tracks that we don't feel are quite as worthy to stand up. You know, is that saying that we don't have those songs ready to go? No, we have them fully written, but we've had this sort of discussion amongst the band already. Like, these are the songs we're going to record. These are the songs we feel are the best. The songs that the songs that are the 98% songs that we're like, oh, this is pretty good, except, you know, that kind of thing. Those don't ever really make the album, and I don't think those are the sort of thing that we really ever want to put out. We want to know that every song that we put out, every recording that we have, is something that we feel 100% on. So it's a difficult thing to, you know, put in these bonus tracks. We usually have to pull them from either another EP or, you know, one of like our Christmas album or our covers album or whatnot. I think the covers album will be good for that because we can pull those things in.
And so, you know, so the stories that I've heard of Lords of Trident kind of vault where you have all these great unreleased demos, it's been greatly exaggerated, then I guess it's safe to say.
Well, we do have, I mean, we've got a lot of demos, but they're just that. You know, they're demos. They're not things that are for public consumption.
Right.
I don't think that people really want to hear these crappy unmixed demos. And besides, if they did, you know, in their pure form, they would probably just melt your brain, essentially. You know, mixed down music is a little bit easier on the palate. You know, it'll just melt your face. It won't make your head explode. But these demos are really for immortal consumption only. Is that saying that we won't ever bring them back out of the vault and turn them into real songs? No. You know, we may at some point. But at this point, you know, it's best that they keep in the shadows until they are fully realized.
Well, as Obama says, you know, there's a lot of these people that he wants to bring out of the shadows. So, so you'd rather stay in the shadows, I guess, huh?
Oh yes, absolutely. You know, I'm more of a rogue type in that sort of a way.
And the very last thing I got to ask you, Fang, because, you know, again, Lords of Trident is one of those bands that you guys are so much more than just music. I mean, you got a great visual thing going, and you guys got a great image as far as the different characters in that. So I was kind of I was kind of curious. When you guys do your live show, do you have a big gonna have a big stage, or most of your shows done in little clubs?
Well, we end up doing both. We've scaled our show down for very small clubs, and we've scaled our show up for larger arenas. We played all sorts of stages. That being said, obviously the larger arenas are a lot more fun because there's a lot less chance of accidentally setting one of the other members on fire. You got your chain whip and things like that. But we're very versatile in terms of where we can bring our show, whose faces we can destroy, and all that sort of stuff. Would I like to be playing all of the larger clubs, larger arenas only? Yes, absolutely. I think it would be great. But sometimes you go into a place, you pillage into a place that you've never been before, and you have to really start down in smaller clubs to sort of gain that following, to find the true barbarian warriors that live in those cities before you have enough clout to make it to a very, very large stage and to pull out that many people.
But once you've left a place like that, a small town that you never played before, you've left your mark there, and once you've been there, they definitely do not forget the name Lords of Trident, and it's almost guaranteed that you'll be welcome back, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, most of the places don't forget the name because we usually leave large craters from where we played in the past. Like I said, the local plastic surgeons community really enjoys us, and also the local construction businesses usually enjoy when we come through too, because somebody's got to rebuild the venues, obviously.
Is it true? I was reading that the upcoming Frostborn tour is going to be sponsored by Trident Gum.
We reached out to Trident Gum because yes, other people have said in the past, "Oh, you need to be sponsored by Trident Gum." To be perfectly honest, I think they're afraid of us. We came up with some new flavor combinations, metal and spearmint, metal and spear, mostly things involving metal. I don't think they were going for it. They haven't returned any of my calls.
Not the friendly.
I'd love to be sponsored by Trident because, after you sing for so long, your breath gets all gross. You need to stick a gum before the ladies get in.
Yeah, not the friendly family image I think that they're going for. But the last thing I was going to ask you now, reading about your band and stuff on the internet, what's the strangest thing you've ever read about yourself from a band, or even the strangest rumor you've ever heard about you guys?
Oh, let's see. That's a tough one. Geez, I once heard that I was engaged to Lindsay Lohan.
Wow.
But that's probably the weirdest one that I've heard. Apparently a lot of people thought that that we had a thing going on, but no, absolutely not. So I'm not sure. I've also heard that we were behind the Great White fiasco when they burned the club down.
Wow.
Well, I can either confirm or deny that one. So let's leave it at that.
We will leave it at that, my friend, and it's been great talking to you again. Before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to say to all your fans out there that are listening?
Well, I'd like to say, if you're new to the Lords of the Trident, if you're a brand new minion, check us out online, www.lordsofthetrident.com. That will be your home, your hub, if you will, for anything Lords of the Trident related. We've got, obviously, a brand new album that's just come out, so check it out on our website, on Bandcamp, or on iTunes, or on Amazon MP3, and you can buy physical copies on the website, lordsofthetrident.com. We've got music videos on YouTube, and we're basically everywhere on the internet. Just Google us, Lords of the Trident. We're the first 50 pages. After the first 50 pages, it tends to get a little weird, so just stay in that first 50-page area. But tell your friends, hide your wives, because we are coming for you.
We will do that. And let me just say, Fang, before we end this interview, I would like to give a shout out to our mutual friend, and you know exactly who I mean, who helped me set up this interview. And we'll just call him out by his nickname, Lord of PR. And I think you know who I mean.
Oh yes, very, very many thanks to the Lord of PR for being a fantastic minion over the years.
So thanks to y'all, and check out their new album, Frostburn, Lords of Trident. They're a band that's been around for years, but they're just starting to get the recognition they deserve. So go out and support the band, and you're going to love what they're all about. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.